We are live here in Paris for Paris Blockchain Week. We're at the Sandbox Artverse Gallery. I'm here with Belinda Pham, investment manager at Sebastien Borget's family office. How are you doing today?
Nice to have me. I mean, it's great, it's exciting. And this space we're having this interview is really meaningful to us. And it's good to have you guys here.
It's so good to be here. The space is really incredible.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about the Sandbox Artverse connection.
absolutely. So it's all tied to like two persons in particular, Arthur Madrid and Sebastien Borget. And actually the pillar of like those two entities between the sandbox and Artverse is culture. So the sandbox, as you know, is like a virtual platform where anyone, you, me, can create, own, and monetize our own content virtually in a more immersive way. We have many IPs and brands in our ecosystem. Think Gucci, Lacoste, very attractive, but also like boring, probably sectors around agriculture, finance, and all. And we tie it back around culture like music, art, fashion, sports. And this space where we are, you see a lot of arts, and I think it's like how NFT initiated at the beginning. Artverse here, where we are, is like a space that celebrates this digital art movement, where actually we're adapting our way of creating content with the technologies that we have nowadays, like AI or like blockchain even.
Wow, so you guys really are at the center of culture.
Yeah, we'd like to think of us like that.
That's so cool. Before I get into kind of what Sandbox is up to, I'd love to hear more about your background because I know you have a fascinating background. You started off in IB,
Yeah.
but before that, you had really just incredible roots and were taught about giving. So, just got us through that kind of the early parts of your career.
Yeah, 100%. So actually, I'm born and raised in Paris, but I'm Chinese Vietnamese. My dad is like half Thai, and you know, like it's a culture of giving. And I grew up like this, right? But then growing up in Paris, you're sort of funneled through education into like jobs you might not want to do. And like here, working in finance in IBD is like the ground, like it's top achievement here. So I was trained to be an investment banker. I started my career there, and I realized it wasn't for me. Um, it was really conflicting with how I grew up, right? Like this culture of giving, and I thought, okay, how can I contribute to like people that really want to change this world in a positive way? And venture capital came up as a solution for me. So went into venture capital, started in clean tech. Of course, the environment is really important for us in France. Um, but somehow ended up in Hong Kong and ended up like learning more about Animoca brands, like being portfolio manager for their accelerator, and then meeting Seb all the way, and he embedded this sort of like founder that actually um, wanted to give to the ecosystem, and he's a giving as a person, like he's been very great, and like in like as in supporting everyone to grow the ecosystem as a whole instead of taking more market share of it for example. And that's how I joined him.
Okay, what a fascinating journey. Can you kind of speak to this culture of giving, which it seems like it kind of had like a full circle moment where you grew up with this element of giving. It was taught to you from a young age, and now you're coming back to our Seb's family office where giving is such a important
Yeah, it's a key
factor.
pillar.
It's a key pillar. So I wonder what that's like for you.
It's been great actually. Like you know, like I joined Seb and I was like, okay, prove me that you know, being a nice founder instead of like taking more of like others, um, because that's essentially how we make money in finance, right? Um, when people lose money, we earn money. Um, how you can actually create a business model like based on blockchain and this new way of like growing things, how do you, because there's no playbook, right? So far, when you look at Web3 projects, you cannot replicate what the business models we had, like in SaaS, for example, it doesn't work because we're an ecosystem-based model.
Right.
So essentially, like you have to grow this cake so everyone has its own share instead of taking more of this like small pie, right? So he had that already like in 2021 when I met him. He had that in mind. And I was like, okay, prove me that this is the right way to do things. And yeah, we keep on like trying to reiterate on that main mindset, um, leveraging new technologies like AI on our way. We've been adapting our thesis and the way the metaverse is growing as a UGC platform. How we have a richer conversation with brands as well, support them. So it's not a one-way around. So yeah, it's been very interesting.
Wow. And I'm just curious because you mentioned this earlier to me privately off camera, but Seb has kind of added this concept of giving and has built Sandbox upon that pillar.
Yeah.
How do you see that that's manifested and how is it continuing to manifest?
Yeah, so actually, in parallel of the Sandbox, he's been a big supporter of the space, like so actively, proactively in 2021. But he's been investing in startups prior that. But more actively in 2021, he's been investing as a business angel in a lot of startups, starting in France. Obviously, like we've been early investors in SoRare. We've been investing in like all those household names like Sky Mavis. Flowdesk that are now like big ledger as well. Um, so we actually realized that not only doesn't make sense to restrict ourselves into one region, but like we want to support globally all those talents. So Seb has been putting a lot of checks. To date, we have like 300 portfolio companies.
Wow.
Um, to manage. It's like having 300 babies, right?
Wow.
And he's been doing that alone so far until I joined him with Trinidad, who's our portfolio manager based in Argentina. And it has actually given him an amazing visibility on what's happening on the market today, right? So as a founder, I think it's a very good added value, and it definitely helped the Sandbox in a lot of ways in like allowing us to actually adapt every new cycle, leveraging new technologies that we're seeing on the investment side. Yeah.
Wow. So 300 babies is a lot of babies. What does your role look like now that you're there helping and really like managing these companies, these portfolio companies?
So the team is a team of 3. So we have to be pretty lean and adaptable and sort of like being able to do everything. I think it's something that you can actually see in other employees of the Sandbox as well. Seb himself is everywhere. He's able to do many things at the same time. Many different, like he has many different qualities. But when we hire people, we sort of look for something like that. Like you're not catered and siloed into one specific things, and one specific task or job, or you need to be able to have the same vision as Seb and contribute where you're good at. It could be anything. It could be HR hiring. Could be like I don't know, like marketing if you want. As for me, like I've been helping the Sandbox on the BD side on like market expansion because I split my time in between Hong Kong and Paris. But you figure that actually it adds a lot of value to your portfolio companies as well. So there's a lot of like cross synergies between like many different roles within a single company. And I believe it's going to be very key in Web3. And, we work a lot with Animal Care, for example. They're our parent companies, but between our teams, we have a lot of synergies. Like we've been organizing this Animal Care Mosaic event, for example. And that shows how like different ecosystems should actually collide with each other to add further value to each other's. So we've been working very closely with the portfolio team, with the tokenomics team as well, to add value for or respective portfolio companies. But on my side, my core job is venture capital. So like obviously sourcing deals through the investment process. So the due diligence is key. Obviously, this space is new, so we need to rely on experts for due diligence. We have this fund of fund strategy where we invest in other funds, like funds specialized in AI, funds specialized in like infrastructure in Web3. And we're working together as colleagues, for example, and they handle our tech due diligence, which a lot of funds don't do necessarily, which end up very bad. But yeah, that's how we handle things.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So efficient and also like so like you still maintain like this incredible community.
Yep.
How, tell me a little bit about kind of community management and events. I know you've put together events for founders, investors, and different different companies in the space.
Absolutely. So, as part of the portfolio management role, your job is to connect your portfolio companies with their actual need. Actual need could be like capital, right? And so you have to connect that with investors. But then if you connect them in an environment where it feels very transactional, like at a conference, it won't have the same impact as if you connect them around, I don't know, like an art workshop or a highly curated dinner of like 10 people, right? So we've been organizing that at every conferences, trying to like set a very genuine environment for like investors and founders to meet and actually bond pretty genuinely around a common topic or activity. Um, and we realized the conversion were like way higher. So
Conversion for what?
in terms of like investments or in terms of like follow up.
Okay.
And, because I like this person, not because he came to me for my money, I will, even if I'm not interested in this startup, I will help him like introduce him to other funds that, so it's like,
Giving pillar.
yeah,
Back to
it's
the giving.
compounding. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I mean, so yeah, ecosystem is very key for us. So the Sandbox ecosystem or the family office ecosystem, at the end of the day, it's the same network. Animoca's ecosystem as well. We also talk to a lot of service providers, could be market makers, marketing agencies, law firms. They all can contribute to our portfolio companies in some ways to actually lower their costs and accelerate their growth. So it's all about like who who you can facilitate intros to in a very genuine environment.
Wow. How are you navigating that, right? Like social impact and giving, but then also you're a fund and then you have to make money and you need to make returns.
Yeah.
So you can give all day, but like at what point, like how do you guys go about that?
It's a question we're still trying to answer to, honestly. But as a VC, it's pretty easy. You actually know which of your startup actually can deliver and execute, that you can carry to exit, right? Um, the biggest challenge is not them because they are pretty independent, just like having kids, right? I mean, they don't need you as much as like some of them. So those who are actually very needy and are like struggling, running out of runway, they're like a big focus as part of portfolio manager and like coaching them and like introducing them to the right people or like even telling them, okay, just give up, right? It's also part of the conversation, like, and not giving up in a way that, okay, just go into liquidation, but also like, okay, we'll try to find like a buying opportunity, like an M&A for potential like strategic buyers that would actually maybe want to buy your token instead of like just going through the whole token listing process, for example. It's also part of our job to actually give them options, right?
Absolutely. I'd love to ask you a little bit about Web3 adoption. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, 100%. So Web3 adoption for me, it has to come from DeFi adoption, right? Consumer use cases like the sandbox and so on will come only after. Um, if we have like more sustainable use cases of consumer will come once everyone will have crypto in their wallets, in their bank account, right? So we need those DeFi rails. So just to give an example, like we have an experience in Korea where we work with a game studio that specializes in agriculture. It's like one of our cute use cases, I would say. No one expects, right? They create like virtual experiences for farmers, organic farmers in Korea.
Wow.
And it's like a farm beyond game, right? You come and then you feed your plants.
In real life?
It's in the sandbox, so virtual
okay,
experience,
okay,
right? But they
okay.
are real people, like real farmers, right?
Yeah.
Actually, so it's like
Wow.
it's like a digital twin, but on the sandbox.
Interesting.
And we add an educational pillar
Mhm.
where you learn about the family, right? And you learn about the aquaculture process. So there's this emotional stickiness where you actually know the people behind your carrot, your tomato, and we add this gamification layer. So once your carrot is mature enough, the real farmer in Korea is sending you direct to your home the carrot that you've been growing. So it's like
Carrot?
carrot or tomato, whatever is at the farm, right?
Okay.
So it's a direct to consumer, no intermediaries like a Carrefour or Franprix, no grocery stores involved. So it's a direct to consumer, and that's how like the whole traditional value chain is changing through a platform like Sandbox. And people would want to actually play the game, and there's this emotional stickiness because the farmer who's behind, you want to contribute to him and like help him earn more money. So like technically the margins are higher for them, so the farmers earn more. But you need those DeFi rails for this to be actually valuable, right?
Wow.
So yeah.
What a unique use case.
Yeah.
And it's a real carrot that comes here, or it's a virtual carrot? Sandbox. It's a real carrot.
Direct to your home.
It's okay. I have a feeling if I ate that carrot, like I would feel so much like attachment to it. I wouldn't want to eat it.
I know. It's
Wow.
interesting.
Okay. I think I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. You have clearly so much insight and experience, and your journey has been so interesting.
Thank you.
Absolutely. What advice do you have for aspiring founders, and just aspiring young men and women in this generation that are trying to create and do big things?
Yeah, absolutely. So for aspiring founders, you definitely need to be tech curious enough to be able to leverage all the new technologies that are arising. Be able to like turn your head like to another angle to actually like have a bigger vision, learn from other industries, because actually the fundamentals are pretty replicable across industries. Our most successful founders are the ones that are able to leverage frontier tech like AI, blockchain to accelerate their growth, lower their costs, and accelerate and create new streams of revenues.
Okay. There you go. Don't skip out on the fundamentals. Thank you so much.
Thank
This
you.
was so incredible.
Thank you so much.
My absolute pleasure.
Hey, what's up?
This is
But it's
Zach.
not something Genzio is afraid of.
If you want to survive, you got to build a
How
hive.
many know we do not understand that we do not understand?
Ladies and gentlemen,
We're back at the Genzio Media House.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today.